There's something in you which is aware of this awareness, being aware of my voice. Or rather than stating it like that, there's something in you which, without being aware of anything in particular, somehow knows that awareness, being aware of my voice. That consciousness, dreaming, this experience. There's something beyond all this, which is always ever knowing, even though it's not engaged with it, it's not a part of it, it's not attached to it, it has nothing to do with it. It is aware of the awareness, which is aware of the world. So the first step is to become aware of the awareness, which is aware of the world. The second step then would be to realize that you being aware of the world isn't happening from a place of awareness, it's happening from a place of beyond conventional awareness. Otherwise, how could you be aware of awareness, being aware of the world? You're doing that from an infinite place, an infinite, indescribable vastness that the mind can only label a void or a nothingness. But once you're there, which is now, but you don't realize it yet, but once you're there, so to speak, you will not call it a nothingness ever, except to the mind so that it can recognize it. But you will feel a little cringy inside every time you call it nothingness. But there's no closer word to it than nothingness and void and all that. Because it has nothing in it. So you could call it nothing, but the image of nothingness, or even the experience that the dreamer can dream up, the dreamer can dream nothingness. And this is often mistaken for the absolute. The dreamer has the capacity to dream a perception of nothingness. This is often mistaken to be realization of the infinite absolute, but it's not. It feels dull, it feels empty, but not very interesting. It feels peaceful because you're dreaming nothingness, which is more peaceful than dreaming a chaotic world with 5 businesses to handle and relationships to manage and etc., etc. So it feels peaceful, but it's no different than the dreamer dreaming chaos. The dreamer can also dream nothingness. It's a mistaken sense of enlightenment. Nothing wrong with it. It adds something to your ability to know yourself. It adds a capacity of mastery to the dreamer. But it is not the same as reality. So once you're there, you wouldn't call it nothingness to yourself. You would call it reality. But the problem is, if I call it reality to you, you start thinking about planets and stars and physics and gravity and eating an apple and watching it fall from the tree and the weather, and that's what you think of as reality. But once you penetrate beyond this veil of consciousness or beingness into the absolute, or even get close enough to it for that window or that metaphysical black hole to open up a little bit, to reveal a tear in the veil of the matrix, in the substratum of the illusion of being, of the dreamer. What comes through is a sense of reality, and you then begin to maybe relate to it differently. But it's not until you're completely exclusively there and everything disappears, yet what remains is the infinite reality, more awake than you've ever been in your life. Suddenly nothing else compares. Suddenly you know reality, and since this disappeared, but you still exist. Not as the I am beingness or consciousness, but as something far more vast, infinite, truly infinite. Can you imagine infinity? Innately comprehending itself with no need for consciousness or beingness. Just this infinite, perfected, untouchable void. This is the one. This is the one source behind everything. It is where there is truly no separation. And it's the only reality. This is the illusion, this experience. Anything that carries experience with it is an illusion.